Hello there. Welcome to Lil's Vintage World. Oh, it's going in my hair. Welcome to Lil's Vintage World. Welcome to a reading vlog. It has been a little while since I last did one, but my plan for today is just to sit and read. So I thought, why not do a reading vlog and spend the day with me? I'm literally going to spend all day reading because I don't feel very well at all. Well, I feel fine-ish. I've just got a cold. But it's like, it's leaving me. It's that day. I feel very run down. So yeah, I just thought, I just want to get rid of it. And I found the best way to just get rid of a cold is literally to spend the whole day doing as little as possible. So I've done what I need to do in terms of like housework and puppy and stuff, so I'll obviously do all that, but the rest of the day I'm just going to spend reading. And what better way to do that than to pick up a book that I could just read and enjoy and just, yeah, devour, see if I can devour it in a day. And I'm going to go for this one. This is Anne Boleyn and Elizabeth I, The Mother and Daughter Who Changed History by Tracy Boleyn. I very, very kindly received this copy for review. This is a proof copy, so it won't look completely like the finished one. This comes out in May. Does it say on the press release the date in May? 19th of May. 19th of May this comes out. And yeah, it's not a huge book at all. That's why I thought perhaps I can whiz through it in a day, because it's just, well, my copy, obviously, again, as I said, it will be different, but my copy's like 240 pages, which I think I could probably do because it's on Elizabeth I, and I find with Tracy Boleyn's writing I can kind of whiz through it. So very, very excited to read this. Excuse me, that was gross. So I love Tracy Boleyn's writing. I think she's a fantastic writer, and I love anything on Elizabeth I. I'm sure you know Elizabeth is my historical heroine, and has been since I'm like 8 years old. I love her so much. I just find her such an inspiration, and I love the fact that she's a woman in a man's world, but actually she uses a lot of feminine aspects, like her dress and her jewellery, and that's the way in which she tells the world her story and what she wants to depict herself. And something that should be seen as a negative connotation about herself, her virginity, is actually she then rebrands it as a strength. And yeah, she's just a great promoter of herself and her age, and yeah, I just think she's wonderful. And you know, as she's my historical heroine, I'm automatically then interested in her mother, Anne Boleyn. And a big up yours to Henry VIII. So I've got a really itchy finger. So yeah, I'm just going to sit and read this and see how much I devour, and see how we get on. I'm really looking forward to reading this. And I did say when I did my books that I want to get to in 2023, this was one of them. This is a book that I really wanted to get to. So I'm doing it now, and I'm just going to read and see how I get on. And yeah, so let's read together, shall we? So I have now read a few chapters. I am now about to start chapter 4. So I have read the introduction, although I did read the introduction when the book arrived. And that was wonderful because that was on the lovely ring that Elizabeth wore. She had the two portraits, so you open it up and it was a portrait of Elizabeth and then a portrait of a woman that is believed to be Anne Boleyn. And then, as I said, I've read 3 chapters, which are actual chapters, and they've been wonderful. And funny enough, the last chapter spoke about fashion, and obviously I just spoke to you about fashion earlier. So the first kind of couple of chapters kind of go back into the past. So we go before Anne, so we talk about the Boleyns and where they are from, and up to the birth of, you know, her parents' marriage, Thomas Boleyn and Elizabeth Howard, and they meet, marry, have children, Anne is one of them, obviously. And then about her childhood, time in France, and all this stuff. What I, you know, obviously up to marrying Henry, getting pregnant. Oh, you get the idea. No, she got pregnant and then married Henry. But what I really like about this book is how Tracy Borman, she just sticks to the point. Like, she doesn't go off piece. She's saying what she needs to say to get to the point of the relationship between Anne and Elizabeth, and the Boleyns and Elizabeth, because of course there's only a very small point in history where Elizabeth has her mother, and it's a point in history that Elizabeth, I mean, I can't remember when I'm 2. Can you remember when you were 2? So chances are she's not going to have any memory of her. So, you know, it's such a brief window of them together. And then the rest of her life is going to be about not Anne Boleyn, but the Boleyns and Elizabeth's family, Elizabeth's heritage, where she's come from. Not just the Tudor side of the family, but her Boleyn side of the family, and how she surrounds herself in that. And as I said, the last chapter, I loved the fact that we're talking about Anne as a mother, and it was lovely to read. And Tracy is putting in some real wonderful pieces of primary source evidence about Elizabeth's wardrobe. Now, Elizabeth, when she is queen, wow, she had such an extensive wardrobe. But I love that Tracy wrote that actually perhaps this was influenced from her mother Anne herself, because Anne gave Elizabeth such an amazing wardrobe. And I loved, there's a phrase that Tracy uses, like a mini me, that like Anne was creating Elizabeth into like a mini me, because of course Anne's position after the birth of Elizabeth, a princess rather than a prince, is then shaky, but is kind of projecting a princess as the daughter of a king queen, and yeah, I thought it was wonderful. So yeah, really enjoying it. And yeah, Tracy Borman is just very much, this is what the book is about, and she's not steering off, which is wonderful. I very much wish that I could write like that. I mean, I can't write anyway, but yeah, I would love to be able to write with such conviction. So I very much fear that the next chapter, Elizabeth is going to be motherless. It'll be interesting to see how Tracy writes it from there, but I am feeling a little bit peckish. I also want to do Puppy a bit of a snack. I think I'm going to do some carrots, just because obviously carrots are good for you and him. They're good for everyone, aren't they? Everyone loves a carrot. I'm not the keenest on a carrot, but they are good for you. Why am I talking about carrots? I'm going to have something to eat, and I'm going to do something for Puppy. That is what I'm going to say. Then I'll come back to the book. I've had a bit of food, so has Pup. Pup has had carrots. I've had sweets. I had a sandwich as well. But has anyone tried these? So I love the regular drumstick slushies. These are bubblegum, and I love bubblegum stuff. Like, I don't actually have gum, but I like bubblegum. Bubblegum ice cream is amazing. I won't put this in my mouth now because that'll be very rude. I need to take some more tablets. Where are they? My cold and flu tablets. Just leave my bars. Cold and flu tablets in a little bit. But I think I've got enough time to read another chapter, and then I'll take some cold and flu tablets. So yeah, as I said, I think this chapter will be the end of Anne, and Elizabeth will be one parent down, and had one parent kill the other. The wonderful man that was Henry VIII. Oh. So I might have made a bit of a boo-boo, and I read more than one chapter. I think I read 3. I just got really into it. And you know when you feel poorly and you just want comfort. It's so good. It's so good. I love how in this book the primary source evidence is like dotted in. Like it's not like, oh, how can I describe it? It's not like you get sometimes where it's like you know, the source of evidence is the big part of what you're trying to say. But what Tracy Borman does is essentially, this is what I'm trying to say. This evidence proves that. This evidence goes from my theory. And I like that. I was so into the book. I don't eat any more sweets. Yeah, it's really good. Really enjoying it. I think I might have my tablets now, have a little rest, have a little lie down, and then I might venture outside because it is a beautiful day. And although obviously I've got a cold, I think some fresh air might do me a bit of good. Oh, I do need to take pup though. Oh, no, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to have some tablets, have 10 minutes or so, then I'll take pup, and then I think I'll sit in the garden for a few hours. Yes, plan. But I'm already over the 100-page mark already. Just whizzing through it. Just wonderful. Wonderful writing, wonderful use of source material. Great. Right, I'll catch you up in a bit when I'm outside. I am in the garden. I am on my swingy seat. I think the fresh air is doing me some good, to be honest. But I am still reading Anne Boleyn Elizabeth I, and I have about 50 pages to go. I just got to a really good bit, which was on when Elizabeth becomes queen, and essentially all the Boleyn people, either family, friends, associate, any connection to the Boleyns, Elizabeth is where she's placing them and where her loyalties lie. And it's really fascinating, that chapter, because it's just so many people, and you can really see that she surrounds herself with Boleyns. She surrounds herself with her mother's family and people that were loyal to the Boleyns, and I think that's really rather interesting, and I found it absolutely fascinating. So yeah, I've got about 50 pages to go. Can I do it? Yes, absolutely. Although I haven't done anything else today, but definitely get that done. Oh, did you hear that bird? That was lovely. It's so nice to have some sunshine because we've had so much rain, and as I said, I think it's doing me some good, clearing me out. I have now ventured back inside. I'm back to the position where I was. I've got my duvet. I have got a massive, well, not massive, I've just got a pint of water. Yeah, I feel quite rough. I don't know whether, like, maybe I should try and sleep. I didn't sleep well last night because of cold, so maybe I'll have a little snooze. But I don't have much left of the book now. I've got like what have I got? I've got like just over 30 pages to go. So I'm gonna read that, and I'm currently listening to, well, I've muted it for now, but I have on Classic FM. Does anyone else do this when they read? Stick on classical music? Is it just me? Sir Squidgy Bum has come to join, haven't you, darling? Are you enjoying the book on Anne Boleyn and Elizabeth I? Do you think it's really good? Yes, you do. You're enjoying it too. So me and Papa are going to go listen to Classic FM and probably finish this. Yay! Whoop whoop! You got something on your nose. And so, just like that, I am done. I have finished Anne Boleyn and Elizabeth I, The Mother and Daughter Who Changed History by Tracy Borman. And boy, oh boy, did I enjoy this. This was just what I needed today, honestly. It was just wonderful. So let's chat about it. So this is a non-fiction book about Elizabeth I and Anne Boleyn, and how their very brief 2 years, 8 months of them being together physically then impacted Elizabeth's whole life, and actually, you know, several hundred years after that. Elizabeth surrounded herself with Boleyns. She trusted herself with the Boleyns. The court became a Boleyn circle for a big part. And it's one of those things where Elizabeth was in a difficult situation because Elizabeth was a daughter of Henry VIII and Anne Boleyn. And there was lots of different people's opinion on Anne Boleyn. And Elizabeth was having to fight for her right to stay on her throne because Henry VIII, although he placed both Elizabeth and Mary back in the line of succession, he did not legitimise either of them. So they were still technically bastards. And it put both sisters in a little bit of a pickle. And so Elizabeth, particularly being the daughter of Anne Boleyn, did have to defend herself quite often. And it's this kind of personal attack, not just on yourself as a monarch, but on yourself as a person, like what you're saying about your mother. I really like how Tracy Borman reflected not just on things that actually happened, the people that she surrounded herself, the things that she did, but also looked into things like personality traits. So situations that happened to Elizabeth and then reflected on the fact that Anne did that in a similar situation, and how they were both women that kind of breaking the mould of Tudor society. They were not the standard woman of Tudor society of what you would expect for a woman of privilege. And then when you look at the death of Elizabeth and then connections with her mother again, I just thought it was so well written. And I feel like with Tracy Borman kind of, the way she writes is that she kind of writes the story of what she's going to put, and then she gets the evidence to then slot in to prove her point. And I think that's the best way to write non-fiction. It flowed so easily for me that I read it in a day. I mean, I did reread bits because I already read the introduction when I first got the book. I couldn't help but resist picking it up and reading it. And so I had read that a little bit before, but you know, it's not a huge book, but I did whiz through it in a day because it doesn't feel heavy. It's not a book that brings you down. And if you're a lover of Tudor history, you probably know, you know, the bare skirting of this before, but it's joining the dots, isn't it? It's putting one person of one timeline in with the person of another timeline. You know, because we have someone that, you know, although they were around at very briefly at the same time, one is, you know, during the middle of the Tudor age, one is at the end of the Tudor age, one is a bit due to the end of the Tudor age because she didn't have any children. There were no heirs to come from her. I love how, as well, Tracy Borman then discusses our monarchy and Boleyn blood, and I thought that was just a wonderful way to discuss. So I just saw a pup going flying off there, but yeah, I absolutely love this book. I highly recommend it. It's one of those things where we are certainly limited on what information we have on the relationship between Anne and Elizabeth. There's only so much you can do. You know, you can't. We're not suddenly going to find out unless someone comes across a diary or something of Elizabeth and goes, how did you exactly feel about your mother? Unless that's going to happen, then, you know, we're a little bit stuffed. But and there's only so much you can do. But, you know, when you reflect of the types of things that she was doing, the types of people that she was surrounding herself, Elizabeth was making a statement. And I find it fascinating that, you know, Tracy just really showed both the things that she physically did, but the type of person Elizabeth was, and whether Elizabeth herself realised how much like her mother she was. I mean, looks-wise, let's be honest, she certainly looks more like her father. She is. I mean, her eyes are her mother's, but her her hair is certainly her father, and her complexion is certainly that of her father. Yeah, she certainly looks more like her father's side, but personality-wise, I think she's a good mix of both. And actually, in situations, I think she really exudes the power of Anne Boleyn and her mother, whether Elizabeth knew that what she was doing, you know, or not. I think it's wonderful. I really loved how Tracy wrote this. I've read a few books by Tracy Borman, and all of them that I've read, they flowed so easily. And this was just absolutely no exception. It just flows so quick, so easily, and it's a bit emotional when you read it as well. I remember when I read Henrietta Howard, which is a fascinating biography on a woman during the Georgian era, which you should definitely read, by the way, if you haven't. And I got quite emotional reading that. If you haven't read it, you should. But this was similar. Yeah, I felt quite emotional reading it because you can't help but feel sorry for these women. And then I kind of felt a bit proud. I don't know why. I don't know why. Maybe it's the cold making me feel emotional. But this was just perfect to read on a day like today when I feel a little bit meh. It's a book that you can whiz through quite quickly because it's completely absorbing, and it was just wonderful. And yeah, highly recommend that you go and check out Anne Boleyn Elizabeth I, The Mother and Daughter Who Changed History by Tracy Borman. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you have enjoyed it. Let me know in the comment section if you are going to get your hands on a copy of this book. Are you excited for it to come out? Are you excited for its release? It comes out on May, I did say, didn't I? May the 19th, so that's very exciting. Not too long to go. But yeah, hope you have enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts on this book, and I shall see you soon for the next video. Bye for now.